So Rob Love from Guerrilla Republik, the underground brand, reached out to me about prepping this file for DTF for an upcoming 22nd anniversary of the brand. Now, immediately I see a lot of hurdles to get through to get this prepped for DTF. First up is we have this white bar here, which would be easy enough to crop. There's also this darker bar down here at the bottom that I'm just going to have to crop off, period. The other issue is the size. This is in Photoshop at 100%, and it is 72 DPI, and we need it to be 300 DPI. So right away, that is challenge number 2. Challenge number 3, just aesthetically, her hair is cropped off here. So we need to go in and get the hair up in there. So first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and crop out this bottom bar. And next, to get this thing to a decent resolution, I'm going to go to the filters, neural filters, and I'm going to turn on super zoom right here. And I'm just going to click on this magnifying tool up to 4x. Now, removing JPEG artifacts is probably also something that will help this file. You can see that I've got it set to making a new document. So it's done, and I'm going to hit OK. So immediately at 100%, you see it. Now, it is a little bit blurry here, if not a lot blurry. But I know that when this actually prints on the DTF, this is going to look a lot better. You get away with a lot on the DTF. As long as there's not a lot of artifacts in there, we should be good. Next thing's next. I'm going to go up under image and then canvas size. And here I'm going to go ahead and set this to inches. And I'm going to add canvas at the top and over here to the side. So I'm going to click down here. And then the width, I'm just going to add a little bit of width, 16. And then the height, I'll go ahead and put that at 21.75. Now the target in the end is going to fit on a transfer press that can do a 16 by 20, but we'll address that once we get the file in good shape. Okay, so that's plenty everywhere as far as the space up here. And just to get the tip of this rifle here. So let me control click or command on my Mac, and then I'm going to inverse that selection. Next, I'm going to go up under edit and go to generative fill. I'm not going to prompt it. I'm just going to hit generate, and let's see what we get. It's going to give us 3 different options over here. So let's take a look at all 3. So definitely the hair on the first one is the best, but this one really extends this rifle out. I'm actually going to toss this, go back to canvas size. Let's go ahead and extend this out to 17 and a half. I really wanted to have some extra room here. Same thing, going to command click and inverse, and then back to generative fill. Okay, this time it did a terrible job on the hair, but I do like the way the weapon is right here. So let's go ahead and flatten that image. Now I'm going to go ahead and make another selection here and delete that. This time, to see if it does better, I'm going to modify and expand this selection just by a couple pixels to let it bite into the photo a little bit. And let's see if we can't get a better result here. Something I can work with. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and flatten the image. Now I'm going to give it a final crop. We're going to knock the background out because this will be on a black t-shirt, and all of the dark areas and shadow areas will be t-shirt, so that this will be kind of a skeletal DTF print. It won't be a big patch, just a big solid area, and that's the beauty of halftoning a DTF. Now here you can see I can go in here and try to select everything to get the model off on its own layer. But I'm going to go ahead and just click select subject, and we're going to see what we get here. And that looks like it did a really, really good job. Essentially, if I click layer mask here, okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, after all this, I'm going to add a layer, bring it down, hit Shift Delete. That brings up the fill, and I'm going to fill with black, and then flatten this image. Now it's time to do the DTF part, where we're going to knock back out this black background and then take some of this shadow stuff with it. At this point, let's think about the final size. Let's go into image size. And remember, this is going to go on a 16 by 20 heat press. So really pushing 15.5, somewhere in there. We know that this edge here is going to be gone. And over here, we've got some space. So I need to really knock this down to maybe 15.8. And then at the top too, there's going to be a little. Maybe I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. 15.7. Whichever way I can squeeze in there. Better safe than sorry. Okay, right there. Now, let's unlock the background. We're going to make a copy. Right click and convert to smart object. Now we're going to double click into that. We're in this temporary file up here. You see this, it just was made. We're going to switch the mode to grayscale and then bring out the levels. And I'm using the menu so you can see for the most part. When we bring out the levels here, this is where, as we start to pull the highlights this way, whatever becomes pure white over here, that's going to be protected by the mask. Whereas whatever is solid black is going to knock out of the file. So we pull this up pretty high. And then on the shadow end, we're going to pull this in. And I'm really looking at the grays. The grays are what's going to turn into halftones. Whites are going to be pure. Black is going to be completely out of the picture. No pun intended. Well, I guess maybe a little. And something like this takes a lot of time. A job like this, you may do this, you may prototype it, go back in, do another version of it until you're happy. And that's what I did with this job. So once you think you have it, I'm going to hit OK. Next, we're going to jump up into image and go to bitmap. That's going to flatten the layers. And we are going to use the halftone screen. And this is the numbers that I'm going to use. 30 on the frequency, which means the size of the dot. the angle, it's the angle that the dots lay upon, and the shape ellipse, round, close to being the same. We'll just leave it there at ellipse and hit OK. Now we're going to take this file and close it, which will force us to save it. And now we're back in that original file. There it is, changed to that smart layer. Now we're going to select all and then copy. We're going to hide this layer now and jump down to the original art. And we're going to add a layer mask. And then we're going to Option on the Mac or Alt click into the layer mask and then paste that black and white image. And now when we click back on here, you can see this is what our DTF transfer is going to look like. And I know it looks kind of crazy. Doesn't look like this could work or be anything. A lot of people see transfers like this and they freak out and they're like, oh, that looks terrible. But let me show you what it's going to look like by adding a layer, and we're going to drag it down here. We're just going to hit Shift Delete, which will let us fill with black. And that's what it's going to look like on a black shirt. But in the end, this is going to look pretty good. In fact, I will show you a prototype. So this was pressed on a square black piece of material. And then I sent that to Rob Love to let him take a look at it. In fact, we did a series of 3 images. At this point, you're going to save this as a Photoshop file for the future, but to send this to the DTF printer, the file you want to make is a PDF, and we're simply going to quick export as PNG, and then save the file.